Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The relationship between the Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga has ended and the player will be traded as soon as possible. With Jonathan Kuminga's rising contract demands and long-standing fit issues in Golden State, a potential sign-and trade could give him a fresh start while offering both the Warriors and Bulls a roster upgrade that addresses their current needs. Jonathan Kuminga's time with the Golden State Warriors might be coming to an end. The 21-year-old forward is currently a restricted free agent, and according to the Stein Line's Mark Stein, he and his agent are seeking a new contract worth at least $25 million per year, either a long-term deal or a shorter-term agreement at that price point. Warriors exploring sign-and-trade Kuminga deal with Bulls. The Warriors have reportedly shown interest in the sign-and-trade, and that is now being discussed as a real possibility. In a sign-and-trade, the Warriors would re-sign Kuminga to the contract he's looking for, only to immediately trade him to another team, in this case, the Chicago Bulls. Stein notes that Kuminga is hopeful Golden State will cooperate with such a deal, signaling real interest on both sides. Why Kuminga never fit Golden State's system. Despite his undeniable athletic gifts and flashes of scoring potential, Jonathan Kuminga was never an ideal fit in Golden State. The Warriors' system relies heavily on ball movement, spacing, and high IQ decision-making, areas where Kuminga has consistently struggled. His game is built on isolation scoring and athletic drives, which often disrupt the Warriors' offensive flow. While he posted a career-high 16.8 points per game last season and stepped up with strong performances when Curry was out, the team's overall performance did not reflect his individual progress. In the 2024-25 season, the Warriors were 3.5 points per 100 possessions worse when Kuminga was on the floor, highlighting that his presence did not translate to a winning impact. Spacing and chemistry issues with Green and Butler. What made matters worse was the overall lack of spacing when Kuminga shared the floor with players like Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, two high-level playmakers who aren't respected as outside shooters. Both Butler and Green operate best with space around them, using their feel, strength, and vision to exploit defensive rotations and get into the paint. They need teammates who stretch the floor and force defenders to stay home, not another ball-dominant slasher who also doesn't command closeouts. Kuminga's skill set only added to the congestion. He's not a reliable shooter or a dangerous cutter, his value comes when the ball is in his hands, attacking downhill. But putting three non-shooters in the same lineup, each requiring touches to be effective, led to predictable offense and limited overall efficiency. The overlapping weaknesses became too glaring to ignore, and ultimately, Golden State couldn't justify building around that kind of fit. Kerr's offense wasn't built for Kuminga's style. Another key reason Kuminga struggled in Golden State was the structure of Steve Kerr's offense itself. Although not a traditional triangle, Kerr's system is heavily influenced by its core principles, emphasizing constant motion, spacing, read-and-react decision-making, and unselfish ball movement. It thrives when players can process the game quickly, move off the ball with purpose, and create advantages without needing isolations. For high IQ veterans like Curry, Butler, and Green, the system flows beautifully. But for someone like Kuminga, whose offensive strengths revolve around slashing and isolation, it became a tough environment to grow in. He wasn't a natural cutter, didn't consistently make quick reads, and often found himself either standing idle or breaking the rhythm with one-on-one plays. The offense wasn't built to give him the ball and clear out, it required trust, timing, and chemistry, and Kuminga never fully earned that from Kerr's staff. Even when he scored efficiently in stretches, his style of play clashed with the team's identity. In the long run, that made it difficult to envision building around him, regardless of his potential. Proposed trade: Kuminga to Bulls, Vucevic to Warriors. With Chicago emerging as a possible destination for Kuminga, I proposed a trade between the Warriors and the Bulls that could benefit both sides. Warriors receive Nikola Vucevic. Bulls receive Jonathan Kuminga. Gue Santos. Kuminga's numbers don't justify a central role. To be clear, the Warriors would love to build around Kuminga if he were dominant and efficient in the areas where he thrives most. However, the numbers don't yet support that. Even at the rim, a core part of his game, he converted 45% of his attempts, which is decent but not elite for someone whose main strength is athletic drives. Ideally, that number would be closer to 50% or higher. The bigger concern, however, is his performance in isolation, where he shot just 30% from the field. For a player whose offensive identity revolves around going one-on-one and creating off the dribble, that level of inefficiency simply doesn't cut it, especially in a system that values movement and quick reads over isolation-heavy play. Until those numbers improve, it's hard to justify building an offense around Kuminga's current strengths. Because of all these factors, the news that the Warriors are exploring a potential sign-and trade involving Jonathan Kuminga doesn't come as a surprise. It's actually something that feels increasingly expected given how things currently stand. The Bulls have a young roster, and Nikola Vucevic is by far the oldest player on the roster. From that perspective, this trade makes sense for Chicago. They'd be getting a much younger player in Jonathan Kuminga, someone they can continue to develop in an environment that currently suits him far better than Golden State ever did. Given all the reasons previously mentioned, Kuminga simply wasn't a fit with the Warriors, but a reset in Chicago could be exactly what he needs. Why Vucevic makes sense for Golden State. As for the Warriors, there have already been reports linking them to Vucevic in recent months, suggesting that there's legitimate interest in bringing the Montenegrin big man to the Bay. From a basketball standpoint, Vucevic would be a great fit in Golden State's system and fill a clear need on their roster. He's a skilled offensive center who can score in the post, knock down threes, and serve as a steady interior presence, something the Warriors have lacked in recent years. His ability to space the floor and operate as a hub in the half-court could add much-needed balance to an offense that often leaned too heavily on perimeter creation. Looking at his 2024-25 numbers, Vucevic averaged 18.5 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game, while shooting 53% from the field and an impressive 40.2% from three on nearly 4.6 attempts per game. His true shooting percentage was around 61.1%, showing just how efficient he was. For the Warriors, adding a big who can space the floor like that would be a game-changer. In their half-court offense, especially during off-screen actions for Steph Curry, having a center who can pop out to the three-point line or act as a reliable secondary scoring option adds a new layer of complexity. Vucevic would create more space for Curry to operate, make it harder for defenses to blitz, and open up driving lanes for others like Butler or other players. Simply put, he gives Golden State an element they've been missing, a skilled scoring big who perfectly complements their motion-heavy system. Jonathan Kuminga doesn't want to return to Warriors, seeks bigger role and payday. Jonathan Kuminga may have played his last NBA game in a Golden State Warriors uniform if a recent report is to be believed. According to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, the 22-year-old forward would prefer a bigger role and payday elsewhere. Kuminga is a restricted free agent and can sign an offer sheet with another team. The Warriors would have the right to match, but there's growing speculation they may not. Jonathan Kuminga appeared in 47 games last season, averaging 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists while shooting 45.4% from the field. His outside shooting remains a work in progress, just 30.5% from three and 66.8% from the line, but his athleticism and scoring upside continue to attract interest across the league. The former number 7 pick in the 2021 draft is reportedly looking for an average annual salary of $25 million, per the Steinline's Jake Fisher. That price tag, combined with Kuminga's desire to be a featured option on offense, puts him at odds with the Warriors' current roster makeup, which is still built around Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. Kuminga has been linked to the Suns, Heat and Bulls in sign-and-trade discussions, and it's clear his camp is focused on finding a situation where he can take on a bigger role. With Golden State aiming to remain competitive in the West, the team may look to use Kuminga in a deal that helps fill other holes. The Warriors are expected to finalize deals with Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton once the Kuminga situation is resolved. Through 3 seasons in the NBA, Kuminga holds career averages of 12.5 points, 4.0 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. He was part of the Warriors' 2022 championship team, contributing off the bench during the playoff run. But this offseason could mark a major turning point for both Kuminga and the franchise that drafted him. Curry brothers have a chance to play together for the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors could use some shooting help. With Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green in the starting lineup, the Warriors will lack some spacing next season on the offensive end. We all know Stephen Curry operates best with ample spacing. That's why the Warriors front office has made it clear that getting more three-point shooting is at the top of the Warriors free agency priority list. One player that has been mentioned in Warriors free agency rumors is none other than Stephen Curry's brother, Seth Curry. Seth spoke about these Warriors rumors on the Dubs Talk podcast. "Steph would love me to come over there and play with him. The fans show me a lot of love at all times, family would love it, you never know what could happen." With Steph actively recruiting his brother, it seems extremely likely that Seth could end up in Golden State. Could Warriors fans be getting the Splash Brothers 2.0? Seth is likely still shopping the free agency market for the best available contract. Unlike Steph, Seth has not made a ton of money in his NBA career, and the Warriors would likely only be able to offer him a minimum contract. However, if Seth were to join the Warriors for the veteran minimum, he would be a huge pickup. Seth shot over 45% from deep last season and is a career 43.3% shooter. Regardless of what his chemistry would be like with his brother, he would instantly become the second best shooter on the Warriors. His defense may leave a bit to be desired, but getting another sharpshooter to put on the floor to relieve pressure on Curry and Butler would open new doors for the Warriors' offense.